Welcome into this edition of Caldwell Sports Commentary, the only televised sports show in Caldwell County, North Carolina, and I'm joined by a wrestler at 126 from Chowan College, Kevin Matheson. How are you?
Good to be here.
How long ago was that you wrestled at Chowan, Pa?
Let's see. That would have been in 1989. So.
Lord have mercy. I'm trying to think of the albums that came out in 1989.
No, 32 years. 32 years ago. Wow. Time flies. That was BK, before Keegan.
That's how everybody does the world now. It's not BC, it's BK. Anyway, not Burger King, it's me.
There you go.
But today we have some sad news to tell the people that Mr. Roy Williams, the face of North Carolina basketball, is no longer going to be coaching the UNC men's basketball team. It's been 18 seasons of him being the UNC basketball coach, and this hits kind of hard for most UNC basketball fans. And I don't think we've seen the likes of a great coach like this until Dean Smith. What do you think?
Yeah, certainly not in Carolina annals.
Right.
You think of Roy Williams, I think he's cemented his legacy at UNC Chapel Hill. Of course, he was a storied coach before that, having coached for
Kansas.
13 years at Kansas, which 12 to 13 years, you don't realize that kind of, because it seems like Roy Williams has just been there. You're pretty much your whole
my whole life.
Sports following life anyway.
Yeah,
At Carolina, very accomplished.
Well,
70 years old.
Right.
So, I mean, you can't blame the guy. He's going to be 71 shortly this year. And, gosh, if I was to be 71, I think I'd want to retire too.
I think so. I got to be honest. I mean, nobody's blaming him for retiring, but I do want to bore you a little bit and list off a few stats here.
This is
so 33 years as a head coach. 15 of those were the Kansas. 18 of those were the UNC. He was 903 and 264. He's the fourth most winning coach of all time, and he is the fastest to 900 wins.
In the fewest amount of games.
In the fewest amount of games, yeah, exactly.
Winning percentage is 7, I'm trying to do the math, 774 winning percentage, something like that, off the top of my head. Yeah, something.
Did you just do math like that?
That's what I do.
Oh, come on. Lord have mercy. But anyway, so 3 championships, 9 Final Fours. He was a legend to the end. I mean, he made the tournament this year, but as you said, it was the first time he had lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament, which that Wisconsin team could not miss.
Oh, yeah, he just ran into a buzzsaw there. They super high shooting percentage there in that game for Wisconsin. That could happen to any team any year, especially in the tournament, one loss and you're out format.
Right.
I don't think that had anything to do with his retirement plans. I feel like he had probably had this in the works well before the NCAA tournament even tipped off.
So of his championship teams, what would you say, 05, 09, or 17? What would you say?
Most vivid to me was 17 with the redemption, coming probably on the heels of probably their best team.
It's definitely for me because that was my junior year there.
2016 was probably one of his best teams talent-wise. Right. 05 was great. He inherited some of those guys.
Right.
They weren't starters or stars at the time when he took the program and made them that way. But, 2017 certainly most memorable for me. And I got to share it with you because you were there.
Well, I mean,
you were there in Chapel Hill when it took place. That took one more meaning.
Shucks, I'm blushing, Pop. Anyway, you have to think that he was a fixture of the campus. Like when I went to UNC, and that, I mean, he was basically God there. I mean, you wanted, like on my what do you call that, diploma, it has Carol Folt's name, who was the chancellor at the time.
President.
You wanted Roy Williams' signature to be on there too, because he was the royalty
that
was down there.
Chapel Hill, yeah.
And he's just such a fixture of the campus. I mean, the court was named after him.
And the community. I mean, he'd go out in the community and people would, I mean, he had crowds around him at, downtown walking on Franklin Street when he would shop or whatever, and there was always somebody wanting an autograph or something at all times, like he was, it was like Hollywood.
Right.
aw shucks, boy howdy, Hollywood.
Dadgummit.
Dadgummit.
Absolutely. And I think my favorite Roy Williams moment was when they won against Duke in 2016. His walk into the tunnel at Coach K's place of worship, of course. His walk was incredible, and I'm probably going to show that in post, but it's just fantastic. That's what I think of when I think of Roy Williams, just a fantastic human being. As far as like having that status, you kind of have a little bit of a disconnect from reality. And it never felt like there was that disconnect for reality for Williams. He always felt like he cared about the people that he was coaching, that he was very caring to the players that he had. I mean, he would get mad. He would almost rip his jacket, and I'm sure much to Duke fans' chagrin, he probably made them upset every time he would kind of lash out like that. But I think he was just passionate and really cared about whoever he was.
As any good head coach probably is.
Exactly.
And, yeah, he's definitely a legend. He is already in the College Basketball Hall of Fame. He hasn't even retired yet, and he's already there. So
should be.
Yeah, cemented his legacy. So.
And all the UNC fans are hoping Coach K's not far behind.
Oh, that's true. What a great rivalry.
Right, exactly.
Great rivalry.
Exactly. I mean, any other moments you wanted to talk about for Williams' career or man?
Wow. I just remember when he was at Kansas, he got on to the Jayhawk boosters and the student section there several times because he was used to the passion of Tobacco Road basketball.
Right.
And Kansas, they had a couple losing streaks there of 3 games in conference play at Kansas, and I thought he was going to come unglued. And basically blamed him that there were no fans in the stand, there wasn't any passion, where was their pride, and
right.
And they were like weren't used to being called out like that. And then, of course, at first there was a backlash, then they rallied around him, and of course he took them to the Final Four the last 2 years he was at Kansas. Before he came, then when he came to Carolina, I mean, that was always his dream job.
Right.
You knew if that opportunity presented itself, he wasn't ready. He was just at Kansas when Dean Smith retired, so he wasn't going to immediately take that jump ship. He stayed, built a legacy at Kansas, then did the same thing when the time was right, came to Chapel Hill and cemented his legacy there as well.
Right. Marion was his hometown. What do you think of Marion as a place?
No comment. No, it's in the mountains of North Carolina, so that being the case, one of my favorite place in all of God's creation is the mountains of North Carolina. But everything that I ever got in trouble for in life happened in Marion. So that's all I'm going to say.
It's
trespassing and speeding ticket and something else. I can't remember. It was nothing major, but Marion's a good place to be from.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, he ended his press conference, or actually started his press conference, saying that he would quit the job when he didn't feel like he was the man for the job, and that if his health wasn't there, he wouldn't be there either. But he felt like he wasn't the man for the job, and I'll let the man say it for himself.
But I will tell you that I'm retiring and resigning as a men's basketball coach at North Carolina. It's been a thrill. It has been unbelievable. I've loved it. It's coaching, and that's all I've ever wanted to do since the summer after my 9th grade year in high school. No one has ever enjoyed coaching like I have for 48 years. As a high school coach for 5 years, came back here as Coach Smith's assistant for 10, head coach at Kansas for 15, and now North Carolina for 18. Everybody wants to know the reason, and the reason is very simple. Every time somebody asked me how long I was going to go, I would always say, as long as my health allows me to do it. But deep down inside, I knew that the only thing that would speed that up, if I did not feel that I was any longer the right man for the job. I'm not going to say the best man, because I never thought I was the best at anything. But 15 years at Kansas, I thought I was the right man. And this time at North Carolina, I thought I was the right man. I no longer feel that I am the right man for the job.
But now we know who's going to be the head coach now, and it's Hubert Davis, who has been on the sidelines since he moved from ESPN to the sidelines in 2012. What do you think about the hire? Do you think he has no head coaching experience? He's the only one that was interviewed and didn't have head coaching experience. So it was Steve Robinson, it was Jerry Stackhouse, King Rice, and Wes Miller were the ones that were interviewed. But Hubert Davis was the only one that was interviewed and didn't have any coaching experience. But it feels like he's integrated in the Carolina family. And this was a family hire, I believe.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was a woke hire, like probably some people think, because he's the first black head coach of UNC. I just think it's more like the family. He's been there, he's done that, and he feels like he deserves it.
Well, I feel like Hubert Davis left his gig at ESPN covering the NBA and college basketball for the place he wanted to be and the only place he wanted to be. If he wasn't going to go into coaching to coach at Monmouth or to coach at Vanderbilt or some of the other ones that some of the other former players at UNC is at, he was only going to be Carolina Blue.
Right.
And he got his chance, and I wish him the best. Hubert Davis, not a surprise, and certainly not a surprise that Carolina stayed in family, as you said. They have, ever since they brought Dean Smith in, ironically from Kansas.
What do you think about the Kansas connection?
Kansas.
Roy Williams used to coach at Kansas, went to UNC. Dean Smith used to coach at Carolina and went to Kansas. So what's the deal here? We need to go get,
or vice versa, or whatever. Yeah,
right. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what the Jayhawk Tarheel connection is, but there certainly is one.
I had a professor. His name was Eric Firkenhoff, and he went to Kansas and was diehard Kansas, and he was still mad about Roy Williams leaving. And I was like, come on, get over this, man. This was in 2017. But
oh well.
Sorry, Eric. Other Eric. Anyway, so let's move on. Sad day, unfortunately, for Carolina fans, but hopefully Hubert Davis is good and just as wonderful as Roy Williams was. He gave us the most memories, I guess.
Well, there's certainly continuity there.
Right.
Probably won't miss a beat. One of the biggest recruiters on the recruiting trail anyway, who recruited, and that's what he'll hit the ground running. It's recruiting season.
He did play for my beloved Dallas Mavericks as one of his 6 teams.
One of his 6 stops in the NBA.
He did play for the Mavericks. But good luck to him. So let's talk about Baylor and Gonzaga.
All
what
right.
a game. Absolutely wasn't a great game.
That wasn't the game. The great game was the game before.
Right.
That saw Gonzaga make it to the final game. But, I really should be wearing a bag on my head today with cutout because I picked a grand total of 0 Final Four teams right this year. 0.
And your boy came through and predicted Gonzaga-Baylor in the final and Baylor winning. So your boy has got you covered on the predictions. Just saying.
Hats off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Baylor took it to them last night. I think Gonzaga played like they felt, one, that they had a little bit of a letdown from the hugely emotional overtime victory over UCLA the game before. And secondly, the weight of trying to finish a season undefeated.
Right.
That hasn't happened in 45 years. Since 1976 when Bobby Knight and the Indiana Hoosiers did it. So that weight, I think, on those players' shoulders a little bit. It came out a little bit flat, a little tense, and Baylor capitalized and really dominated the game from start to finish.
I mean, you exactly pointed out that they basically got punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Gonzaga got punched in the mouth early in the game. They got down, I forget what the score was, but they were already down 20 points in the first half.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you that this great team, they didn't face a team that was of this caliber of Baylor until they finally got to the national championship. Because they were supposed to play early in the year.
This was actually finally the matchup that everybody wanted to see in the regular season that was canceled because of COVID issues.
Right.
They were on the regular schedule, and we actually got it in the national championship, and it was a little less drama than what most people thought.
You didn't think a 16-point victory was in the cards for Baylor.
Well, Baylor looked rested. They looked ready. They almost looked like they had been there before, whereas they had never been there before.
Which I don't think we're going to take away from Gonzaga. Gonzaga was a great team. Corey Kispert was awesome. Drew Timme was awesome. Who else am I missing? Ayayi.
Yeah.
It was a great team and a historic team, and I don't think you should take anything away from them. I just think Baylor wanted it more. If you could have told them they were playing poker, they would have beat them anyway because they were just so fired up.
They really were from the start. So hats off to the Baylor Bears.
Baylor Bears. Let's go Waco, where you can get pancakes at a Mexican restaurant.
How
about that? That's my favorite memory.
Or can you go to a restaurant that doesn't have a Mexican influence at all anyway? No,
probably not. That's what they do. It's Tex-Mex.
Baylor Bears. Bears and Bulldogs, two of the most common mascots in the final. So
there you go. Your fascination with mascots.
I don't know what it is. You got to go by something, all right? What do you think of this NCAA tournament this year? How did it feel to you?
Mickey Mouse tournament.
Mickey Mouse.
It was weird. Everything was turned on its head. We got UCLA an 11 seed in the Final Four. It was just weird. Illinois losing so quickly against Loyola Chicago. It was crazy. But at least we got to see the two best teams in the national championship duke it out. And Gonzaga came up short, but they were definitely the best team in the regular season.
Yeah, in my whole years of following college basketball, I'd never seen a team that had 3 All-Americans in their starting 5.
Right.
As Gonzaga did. If they played that game, 9 more times and had a best-of-10 series, who knows?
Baylor wins 9 of them because they were fired up. They hate Gonzaga up here.
But you never know. The talent was there for Gonzaga all year long. It just wasn't enough to propel them to the championship. So Mark Few comes up just short again. Last time he came up short?
Against the North Carolina Tar Heels.
That's right.
In 2017.
So, but you have to think that Gonzaga is now that team you expect to be in there every single year,
right,
competing for Final Four trips every year with Mark Few and.
I feel like we're praising Gonzaga too much here.
But
Scott Drew, Scott Drew.
I was going to say Scott Drew has. He resurrected Baylor basketball. I don't know if our listeners at home realize how low that it got. Their coach. The things that went on campus,
right,
death penalty kind of thing for a basketball program, and then to bring that back.
Well, not even to mention, you had a former player who killed another former player right before the head coach got there, and also admitted to selling drugs. This program was in shambles, and then they win the national championship just a couple years after.
Yeah,
it's just wild.
Hats off to him. He built it. He built it.
Right.
Coach Drew, and I think I'm not trying to take anything away from the Jayhawks, but it feels like as long as Coach Drew is there, that Baylor will now be the standard bearer for the Big 12 Conference instead of the Jayhawks, which had been there since even before Roy Williams was at Kansas.
Right.
Standard bearer for that conference, several iterations of it before it became the Big 12. But
right.
So hey. Early predictions for next year. I've seen that out there, and most people have Gonzaga making it back to the championship next year.
Well, I think it goes to the fact that they're not playing hard teams in the regular seasons to wear them down and wear their bodies down. And then when they finally get to the tournament, they're a 1 seed, so they get that benefit of being a 1 seed and basically being undefeated because they're not going up against the, Illinois, the Baylors, the whoever was the top talent this year.
Yeah. And early on in the season.
Right.
Although I have to say Mark Few schedules some tough early games in tournaments, early season tournaments, but still the conference, the West Coast Conference doesn't compare to the Big 12, the Southeastern, the ACC, the Big 10,
right,
even the Pac-12. Although I think that Gonzaga has cemented itself as the preeminent team on the West Coast in college basketball. Baylor?
Mick Cronin would like a word with you. UCLA played a heck of a game.
Let's talk about that.
That was probably the best college basketball game I've seen in recent memory until the Chris Jenkins shot, which is beloved by most
Villanova fans.
By Villanova fans and Duke fans.
And anybody but Carolina fans.
Right, exactly. Greatest shot in probably college basketball history.
Chris Jenkins, yeah.
Him and Christian Leitner, greatest shot.
And Suggs hitting the shot for Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
That was a classic game. Not just the ending of the game, but the game all the way through, back and forth, 14 ties, 15 lead changes, overtime, and then a last second shot or tenths of second shot from half court to win it for Gonzaga. Yeah, UCLA, though, first team ever in the first four, or what's known as play-in games,
Right.
that a team that have won those and made it to the Final Four. First time ever.
That's historic.
Yeah, so that's historic. And UCLA, are they back? Well, they've certainly got a great foundation to build on. And some great, they've always got good talent. I don't know what it is. They haven't, in many years, in several decades, since, of course, when John Wooden was there, and then they won a championship. It's eluding me, the coach that came from Georgia, Jim Herrick, and they won one in the early 90s and haven't been back to the Final Four since until this year. Certainly the most championships of any single team in NCAA history, UCLA Bruins in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
But, hey, Coach Cronin, he's hopefully got him rolling for the future. But yeah, definitely the game, the standout game, the classic game of the whole season and this tournament was the UCLA Gonzaga in the Final Four.
Well, that was our ode to dadgum college basketball. Amazing stuff, Pa. So we want to move on to the NFL. I'm going to just mention real quick. This is our local angle here. The Panthers have their new quarterback. Sam Darnold is their new quarterback, who was an outstanding quarterback for the New York Jets and USC. What do you think about the Panthers bringing in Sam Darnold?
They had nothing to lose. They win.
The king of mononucleosis is what he's being called.
Yeah, you seen that meme of him? Yeah,
something.
Something. Well, I tell you what, he will have a chance to prove himself at Carolina.
All right.
A great talent, obviously. Drafted number 3 overall when he came out of USC. Maybe not as the best receiving core or offensive coordination to work with at New York Jets.
Right.
No slam, not too deep a slam for Mean Green, which hasn't been very mean of late. But a new start, Carolina. Teddy B, I mean, he was decent, had some good highlight clips. Flashes.
Yeah.
At times, will Sam Darnold be the quarterback for the future for the Panthers? Hey, I don't know, but it's
all you have to do to be the Carolina Panthers quarterback is to throw it about 4 or 5 yards down the field to Christian McCaffrey, and then he just does his magic. That's
basically as long as he's healthy.
Yeah, but I do like the Robbie Anderson, Sam Darnold being back together kind of thing.
Exactly, I was going to mention that.
I kind of hope they do the whole Dirty Dancing thing where they that'd be amazing. Be awesome.
We'll see. But good for the Panthers. They don't even have to wait till the draft to find a quarterback. They did it.
Exactly. Hopefully he works out and they don't have to get anybody else. But Will Greer is waiting in the wings, Pa. Go West Virginia. Anyway, so NFL's deader than dead, so we'll move on there.
No, you don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers?
Being the host of Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Being the host of Jeopardy. That's
the man looks pretty decent with gel in his hair, I got to say. I mean, he hasn't had gel.
It doesn't look like he's had a helmet on all game. So he looked decent. So
it's almost like he hasn't. All right, so we want to talk about baseball. It's back. It's back. Baseball's back.
Pardon me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, let's talk about baseball.
And everyone's cringing at home. Baseball's back, and Castellanos is amazing for the Reds. Let's just get started.
Can I rant for a second?
Sure, talk about it.
Baseball's back, which makes me excited, but okay. My favorite commissioner in the Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, who I have not, I've held back a little bit of words, but I have nothing good to say about the man whatsoever. He doesn't even have the guts to be the disciplinarian on the field, so he's put that to the former general manager of the Marlins, who's now the person disciplinarian.
I love how you started yelling.
Yeah. Nick Castellanos, he hits a home run against the Cardinals.
Right.
I mean, this is a impassioned rivalry and has been for over 100 years between the Reds and the Cardinals.
Right.
He doesn't make contact. He just, sits there and flips his bat. He slides in home plate on a wild pitch.
Right.
He gets up. I don't know where the catcher thought or the pitcher that actually fielded it was supposed to be. He's standing on the base. That's where he's going to be. And the pitcher took exception to that since he had hit a home run off of him earlier in the game, and they started jawing, and the benches cleared and all this stuff. So he gets suspended, Castellanos, for 2 games for doing nothing. Thanks, Manfred. Anyway, but the Cardinals and the Reds, the action's back.
I mean, the
National League, and that's just my division, the National League Central. It's everywhere across all of baseball. It's going to be a fun ride this year.
It is going to be a fun ride, as you can see.
And of course, the Reds are in first place right now.
Well, you just had to pull that one out. I got you. We're unbiased.
Although the Cardinals are favored, and the Cubs are tied with the Reds right now, but it's going to be down to the wire. Some of the other teams, of course, coming back. Los Angeles Dodgers, defending world champs. Probably have to be the prohibitive favorite to repeat.
Yeah, definitely.
Not only did they keep most of their talent in place, they added
Trevor Bauer, a Red.
Cy Young winner, only Cy Young winner for the Cincinnati Reds ever, a one-year wonder. And, of course, they had more money to pay him in L.A. than Cincinnati, and so they have another premier arm to their starting rotation. So they have to be the favorite, I think, to repeat. But, hey, that's why they played this year. 162 games.
Look out for them Padres, though. I think the Padres are
That's going to be fun.
Absolutely in the conversation for that.
Absolutely. Love the talent, the young talent that they've amassed there. Tatis Jr. Tried to swing for the fences last night and tore something in his shoulder.
Oh, no.
We're awaiting the MRI results to see if there's anything that's going to be long term or if it's something's just tweaked. But, the Padres up their pitching staff, too, as well, to keep with that young nucleus that's going to only get better. It's going to be fun in the NL West. Some of the other things in the East, let's talk a little closer to home. The Atlanta Braves. Ouch.
Yeah, they haven't won a game yet.
Swept by the Phillies in first series, and then have yet to play the Nationals because the Nationals have yet to play at all.
Right.
COVID-19, 3 positive tests, and they've not played on the diamond this year. But most people have neither of those teams winning the East, but the New York Mets winning the National League East. So I don't know. That's going to be fun there as well.
Absolutely. Hopefully the Mets are better than they have been. The Mets fans deserve it. They haven't been winning since '69, Pa. That's the year of your birth. That's how old.
Yeah, they won it then, and they've won it another time.
The Miracle Mets.
Yeah, with some other things with Darryl Strawberry and Ron Darling and all that crew, Lenny Dykstra. They won it against the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
Since then, but
ancient history, Pa. Ancient history.
Yeah, well, it was not that long ago, 4 years ago, when the Mets were in the World Series.
Right.
But of course, it got swept. But there. So we'll see. They paid a lot of money to amass the talent they have in New York, as New York often does, as the evil empire across town does every year, the New York Yankees.
Unbiased on this show, Pa. No evil empire.
That's just somebody else.
Bronx Bombers.
Somebody else calls them that.
Anyway, I would be remiss. I like that word. If I didn't mention Shohei Ohtani, who hit the 102 mark pitching. And then at the bottom of the inning, he hits a home run. I think that's awesome that he can pitch at that level and hit at that level.
That's amazing.
Insane.
And the first player in the American League during the DH era that has pitched and bats second in the lineup.
That's something.
You don't see that ever. You can probably never see it again. Who knows? But hopefully he stays healthy. Shohei, I hope you stay healthy.
Exactly.
You already have some really good offensive talent and defense in the field with Mike Trout and company.
It's just the best player in baseball.
Yeah.
Just throw that in there.
So hopefully that should be enough with health on their side. Get them into the playoffs. Astros haven't missed a beat. They've picked up where they left off.
Right.
Quite funny the last game.
You're going to talk about the trash cans?
The trash
You're talking
cans.
about the trash cans.
They threw the trash cans on.
I'm biased on the show, Pa. The asterisks. Don't talk about them.
Those were the Angels fans decided that was class to do, throw trash cans on the field in honor of the cheating scandal, the Astros.
Lord have mercy.
Pitch stealing and that kind of thing. But anyway.
At least Rob Lowe is happy. At least Rob Lowe's
There
happy.
you go. Yeah, we got to keep somebody happy.
All right, well, we won't keep you too much longer.
What else in the American League, you think? You got the
American
Yankees
League?
on the East Coast, and another team,
I mean, it's hard not to say the Twins.
Twins in the Central. Yep.
Yep.
They're looking
Unfortunately,
good.
they're not.
Wow.
Fortunately, not the Tigers and the Twins.
Nelson
more so.
Cruz had himself a game against the Tigers last
He's
night.
very talented.
2 home runs and an RBI double. And he could have had 3, and they called it foul by an inch or something. That's crazy. Yeah, the Twins are good. Who do you think might be a surprise team this year in the major leagues?
I don't know, Pa.
Last year, maybe the Rays were a little bit.
The Orioles, apparently, because they've been on a tear. I don't understand how they're good.
The Orioles started out 3-0.
Yeah.
Swept the Boston Red Sox. So,
Yeah, which,
that doesn't bode well for them.
Right.
But yeah, that's a big surprise. The Orioles, will they continue? No. But hey, way to go, O's.
Exactly.
But I'll speak of somebody else in that division. I think has amassed a lot of young talent, picked up some good pitchers out of country. The Toronto Blue Jays are looking really good.
Yes.
With last night back-to-back homers for Kevin Biggio, followed up. Then who hit the home run right before that? Oh yes, Marcus Semien, who they got from the Oakland A's this in the offseason. A lot of talent there in Toronto. So look for them maybe to be the Tampa Bay Rays of last year, this year maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. But they don't have Randy Rosarina, so I don't know.
No, a Rosarina.
But we can talk
Who
about.
does have the Rays? Still have him.
Rays.
So you never know. Can't count the Rays out.
All right, exactly. But we could talk on baseball for hours. But
I could, maybe not.
I probably, maybe do something. Anyway, what do you want to talk about now to close us out? You want to talk about the NBA real quick?
Yeah, we can talk about the NBA. What do you think? What's your impressions right now in the NBA?
LeBron's just resting. He's not really injured.
You don't think he's really that injured?
No, he's just resting. He's ready for the playoffs.
He just wants to get in playoff mode, keep that body, which is not as young as it used to be, but really has been amazingly resilient over his career.
He's got to keep his body tight for Bugs Bunny and the
For Space Jam.
make sure Space Jam's good.
That's right. So you think the Lakers are just kind of sandbagging a little bit right now and getting ready for the playoffs?
Yep, pretty much sandbagging until they can actually, hopefully, get a back-to-back championship. I don't know.
Anthony Davis going to be healthy?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows if Anthony Davis is healthy? Unfortunately, the gigantic body that he has it's hard to keep a healthy body the whole season on a 7-foot frame.
Yeah.
But anyway,
With a unibrow.
the Dallas Mavericks are on a tear right now.
There you go.
And Luka Doncic is playing MVP levels right now. Just saying.
have to agree
just
with
want
you.
to put that out there.
I know you're a
in the
little bit
ether.
biased, but it just anybody from the outside.
No, from the outside.
has to
They're on
say
a
that as
6-game win
well.
streak. I mean,
6-game win streak and
hottest team in the NBA.
yeah,
Just saying.
beat the best record Utah Jazz last night.
Utah Jazz is doing very well.
So with the Mavs beating the best team so far in the regular season, you have to say that they're in good shape for a playoff run, or maybe improve their positioning in the seeds come playoff time.
But let's talk local. Charlotte Hornets are actually decent. It's insane. Terry Rozier needs help on offense, though.
Yeah, when LaMelo went down, that kind
Right.
of hurt him. He was distributing the ball very well. Now Terry Rozier doesn't have the spot-up shots that he's having to try to distribute the ball. But, hey, they're still right there in the middle of the Eastern Conference. And hopefully they went from being the 4th seed to the 6th seed. To the 6th seed with a loss recently. Not before last. But, hey, they're right there in the middle with a lot of other teams. The Celtics, the Heat, the Hawks, all with essentially the same record.
You have the Raptors. Is that what you put down, or is that the Blue Jays?
That's the Blue Jays.
Oh.
I don't have, Raptors were great. They're not even in the playoff right now.
Exactly. Which is weird because we're just 2 years removed
from the championship.
Van Fleet and stuff.
Yep. Not to say they can't play themselves back into the playoff picture, but will they beat a Brooklyn Nets team that is loaded for bear, that's loaded for LeBron?
Right.
Can't see it happening.
No.
I can't see any other team in the East beating the Brooklyn Nets. But that's what they bank on when they rolled out the bank.
I mean, they got Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Blake Griffin. It's insane. I mean, if this was, what, 2018?
This is added.
This is an all-star team.
Yeah, this is 5 starting all-stars. We'll see if they're healthy.
That's always the key to everything in the NBA.
So. And so if that's the case, you think it's going to be Nets, Lakers, or do you think a team in the West can unseat the Lakers in the playoffs?
Who are you talking to? This is going to be the Mavericks, dude.
The Mavericks,
it's the Mavericks to the championship game. Kristaps Porzingis, the man. Anyway,
right.
Moving on from the NBA. I don't even know if people watch NBA anymore. What do you think about the Olympics? It's actually going to happen, it seems.
It's going to happen, yes. Barring any other major disasters, 2020's version of the Olympics will now be 2021 in Tokyo.
Tokyo! What a fun city. It's insane how much stuff is there.
That you can cram into that area.
Right, exactly.
Wow. That's a densely populated city on the planet.
But when will they start playing that? Do you know offhand?
It'll be late July.
Late July.
Yep.
Nice and hot for all the visitors.
Yep, in Tokyo. So they should put on a good spectacle.
Hopefully.
A lot of the teams, U.S. National teams in all the sports are being formulated right now. Gosh, it's hard, coming from a sport, wrestling background, which the Olympics is the penultimate point of anybody's career in wrestling, in amateur wrestling. And that's just one of many sports that's the case for in the Olympic sports. That's really tough on competitors. They've geared up for 2020 and then they cancel it. It takes them a whole another year to get to that level. Who knows how that's going to play out? People's whole lives put on hold monetarily and otherwise to compete on that level. Kudos to them for sticking it out for another year to make it to reach their dreams and hopefully get some gold.
But don't see any world records being broken this year. It seems like everybody's took a year off, even Olympic players. And
we'll see. Yeah, but you're right. In track and field, there's been very few records broken.
Right.
In several other sports, basically people took a year off due to the pandemic. Training, by yourself does not equal training, against other world-class athletes.
Right, Olympic level competition.
Right, so we'll see. But I'm just glad that they're going to go off. The amount of money that was spent to get ready for them, to cancel them for Japan, that would really be disastrous for them. But they're going to be able to recoup some of that. Not the amount of fan base that they would get usually to bolster some of that.
I thought that was very odd
income.
That they're not going to have fans. I thought that was very odd.
But television contracts around the world are still lucrative, and I think they'll be all right.
I mean, you definitely want to be safe and make sure that people's health is more important.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be so hard for the Japanese economy not to have that boost that they paid for, and what you want. When you get the Olympics, you want that economy boost and all those tourists coming in and spending money and putting that money back in your economy. And America's not one to talk. Our economy's not great right now, but that's got to be hard for.
It's another pandemic hit.
Right. Exactly.
Casualty of COVID-19. So, but it'll be fun.
It'll be fun to
compete.
Olympics.
In the Olympics.
I feel like it's been longer than 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been 5.
Exactly.
But,
and then they'll be having the Olympics again in Paris in 3 years instead of 4. So we'll say, wow, this doesn't seem that long ago. We just had the Olympics in Tokyo.
Graphic design idea. You could get a javelin and make it the statue or the Paris thing. Eiffel Tower. Sorry.
Eiffel Tower.
I'm trying to learn things here while on the fly.
Yeah, that would do it. There you go.
Anyway, did you want to discuss any more sports, or do you want to let the people go?
Feel free to go if you want to, but if not, we could talk sports for a while longer. Nah, just one thing. This time of year, the azaleas are blooming. Spring is here. It must be time for the Masters.
Exactly.
In Augusta, Georgia, it's teeing off this week.
That's true.
And that's always a fun event.
Very.
Not sure who the front runners are, whether it's Bryson DeChambeau or Justin Thomas, the winner of the PGA, or somebody else from the past that may have a good run there for a green jacket, or somebody new.
Jordan Spieth.
Jordan Spieth.
Team Under Armour.
There you go. Who knows? Who knows? But it's always fun. Spring is in the air. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully we won't have as rainy a spring as we had a winter and fall. But I'm looking forward to it.
Is that just you as a baseball fan saying that, or are you just wanting the weather to be good?
No, that's me more as a water plant superintendent having muddy water.
Oh, good Lord.
No, in sports as always. That's what we're talking about. This is Caldwell Sports Commentary. Of course I'm talking about sports.
So more to a local angle, I thought it was crazy that they're playing football right now for High Brighton and
High
all
school.
all
High
these
school
schools.
sports are all messed up, and even like wrestling is going on.
Right. All those fall
starting
sports.
now, and of course baseball had already started too. So it's when it normally was. So then you got all the other overlaps, which that's going to be very interesting because let's face it, you can't play baseball and football at the same time. You can't play wrestling and football at the same time because they're all happening at the same time. It's gonna water down the competition just a little bit. Then you have to specialize in a single sport. That's not very American, but that's just modern society, and that's just the reality in a pandemic world. So,
well, you said it best, Pa. It is the reality in the pandemic world. But I want to leave you with a last daggum, just in honor of Roy Williams, my favorite coach of anything of all time. Just got to say. But then I love Bill Parcells as much as the next guy, but he's not Roy Williams. So. Anyway, thank you guys for watching Caldwell Sports Commentary. I am your host, Keegan Matheson.
Kevin Matheson for City of Lenore.
And we will be back at you sometime, maybe the NBA playoffs. How about that? Sounds fun.
Sounds fun. Let's do it.
See you.
Bye-bye.